All right, let me tell you a true money story that feels like cheating, but it's real. And the crazy part is, it didn't start with millions. It didn't start with a rich family. It didn't start with a massive business. It started with one decision and $10,000. This is the real story of Ronald Wayne Buffett. Nah, I'm joking. Not Buffett. This is about Ronald Wayne we already talked about earlier, so scratch that. This story is about an investor named Peter Thiel. Now, before you roll your eyes like, oh yeah, easy for him, just hear me out. Because what he did in the beginning didn't look obvious at all. Back in 2004, Facebook wasn't Facebook. It was the Facebook, a weird little site that only college kids were using. Mostly Harvard at first, then a few other campuses. No ads. No big business plan that the public could see. No billions on the table. Just a young guy named Mark Zuckerberg building something in a dorm room. And somewhere during that early chaos, Peter Thiel heard about it. At the time, Thiel was already involved in tech. He had co-founded PayPal and understood internet companies. But even with all that experience, investing in a social network was still risky. Because let's be honest, social networks back then came and went. You'd hear about one, people would try it for a month, then it would disappear. So when Peter Thiel decided to put money into Facebook, it wasn't some guaranteed win. It was a bet. Here's what he did. He invested $500,000 into Facebook. Now, before you say, wait, the title said $10,000, I'm getting there. Because what matters is how small early investments, even smaller ones, can explode when the timing is perfect. That $500,000 got Thiel around 10.2% of the company at the time. Let that sink in. 10% of what would become one of the biggest social platforms in human history. Now, the suspense of this story is what happened next. Facebook didn't immediately become a monster. There were problems. Lawsuits, competitors, massive uncertainty. People forget this, but Facebook was almost derailed early on. They had legal battles about the idea, about who owned what, about who stole what. And then there was the bigger fear. Could Facebook even grow outside college students? Because at first it wasn't for everyone. It was for students with .edu emails. So Peter Thiel is watching this investment, knowing it could become huge, or knowing it could collapse and become a lesson. Now fast forward. Facebook expands, first to more universities, then to the public. User growth explodes, and when something starts growing that fast, it turns into a different kind of danger. A danger people don't talk about. Success attracts sharks. Bigger companies start watching. Investors start circling. Competitors copy features, and inside Facebook, the pressure becomes insane. Scale too fast and the site breaks. Grow too slow and someone else wins. But Facebook survived all that. By 2012, Facebook went public. Peter Thiel's stake, which had been worth almost nothing on paper years earlier, suddenly turned into real money. At IPO pricing, his holdings were worth over $1 billion. But here's the twist. He didn't keep it all. Over time, he sold portions, and the total value of what he got back from that early investment was estimated around $1 billion plus, depending on the sale timing. So where does the $300 million come in? Because there's another version of this story that hits even harder. A lot of early Facebook employees, contractors, and small investors got equity for tiny amounts of money. Some people had holdings worth tens of millions, just because they joined early. There were stories of people who had stock options they forgot about, ignored, or nearly lost. One early Facebook employee famously bought a house with their stock option payout, and the amount was way more than they expected. This story isn't just Peter Thiel got rich, it's the bigger lesson. Early stage equity is like a lottery ticket, but with one difference. You can increase the odds by understanding what you're buying. And Peter Thiel understood something important about Facebook. He didn't see it as a website, he saw it as infrastructure, a place where people store identity, relationships, communication. And once you own that, it's hard for competitors to catch you. Now, if you're still watching, subscribe, like, and comment, because these true money stories are the ones that teach you how wealth actually moves. Here's the uncomfortable part. Most people would have laughed at investing in Facebook in 2004. Social media isn't real. It's a college trend. It'll die. And if you think I'm exaggerating, remember MySpace. People thought MySpace was unbeatable too. But Facebook did something different. It became a habit. Then it became a daily routine. Then it became a necessity. And when something becomes a daily necessity, money follows. Peter Thiel's investment wasn't just a win. It was one of the most legendary venture wins in modern history. Now here's the real suspense lesson. Not everyone got rich from Facebook. Some early investors sold too early. Some employees didn't hold their shares. Some people ignored their options. Some didn't understand what they owned. And the difference between life-changing money and normal money was patience. It's the same lesson as the janitor millionaire story. Wealth can take years to show up, and most people quit before it arrives. So the question isn't, could you find the next Facebook? The real question is, if you found it early, could you hold on long enough? Because the hardest part isn't buying early. The hardest part is not selling when it starts rising and your emotions start screaming at you.